You're watching the Press Row from the Opupco Studios in Oklahoma City. I'm Mike Sherman here with Oklahoman columnists Jenny Carlson, John Rohde, and Barry Trammell. We're talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder, which all of a sudden seems maybe, guys, to have arrived at its rebuild ahead of schedule. Here they stand in Oklahoma City on Wednesday night. They play the Spurs, the collision of the two hottest teams in the NBA. The Spurs will have won 11 of 14 going into that game. The Thunder 8 of 10. Rebuilding. How do you shift from rebuilding and development to contention, or do you, John?
Well, I mean, you always try to keep building, and like Sam Presti said yesterday, you can't control what other teams do, Jenny. You got to keep getting better yourself. You just keep your eye on first the prize, which is the playoffs, and then you go head-to-head from there on. And I believe it. When the Thunder says we're just thinking about the Thunder, I believe them.
Well, and I think, too, you have to remember that everything is still a work in progress. I mean, it's still a learning situation. I mean, we wanted to see how they handled success early this year. Well, we've seen that they've handled it pretty well. This whole idea of being in playoff contention, I'm not so sure that they need to really be mindful of that just yet. But if we get to the 1st of March, which there's still a lot of basketball to play between now and then, but if we get to the 1st of March and they're still in contention, this team then has to learn how to handle that in being in the race and trying to win games to get to the playoffs. It's going to be a learning process every step of the way for this team. But so far they've passed tests, and I guess there's reason to believe, why couldn't they pass that one too?
Well, I think every decision the Thunder makes should be predicated on this. Will it help them win the NBA title in 2013? Whatever they do this year, they're not going to do much in the postseason if they make it. This is a team that's going to be really good in 3 or 4 years. They're playing on house money with this year. I mean, nobody saw this coming. Nobody thought playoffs. Nobody thought 40-something wins, 45, 48, whatever it might be take. So, hey, just keep playing this, riding this wave of building for the future, planning for the future, and if the wins keep coming, celebrate.
And what a great opportunity it would be if they do get to the playoffs, because I'm with you, Barry. Even if they get in, they're not going far, but that opportunity to see what that is like, to see what that pressure is like, I mean, that would be an invaluable opportunity for this team moving forward, because they're not an NBA championship team this year. But if they could learn now, so when they are in a position to really make a run, they don't have to sort of gawk around and go, oh, this is what the playoffs like. They can say, we've been there, we've done that, and now we're moving forward. That would be a great opportunity for this franchise.
It's a great point for this reason. Generally speaking, first time you make the playoffs, at whatever point in your franchise you are, you get rolled. Might as well get the roll out of the way this year.
Okay, guys, now there is a small matter of $14 million in expiring contracts in the name of Etan Thomas and Matt Harpring, who will never darken the doors of the Thunder practice facility, evidently. Lots of fans, lots of analysts see that and say those are pretty nice trade chips to make. How do you think Sam Presti will spend them, or will he, John?
Well, is Collison up for contract too?
No, he's extended. He's got some time.
Okay. Well, Harpring, I think that's a prorated contract, so it's only a couple million, and he's coming off injury, so I don't see the allure in him. Etan Thomas is just a great locker room guy, and when he did play for the Thunder, when he was in the rotation, when he was healthy, he was immediate results, guys. So I think there's something there in Etan Thomas.
Well, and I think Thomas and Ollie are you mentioned the locker room aspect of things. Those two guys, they aren't going to get a lot of playing time, because look what Ibaka's doing. He's clearly taken those minutes away from Thomas, and now you've got Eric Maynor in the mix, who's clearly taken those minutes away from Ollie. But I don't think either of those guys are complainer types. I don't think they're going to mope around and really become, cancerous in that locker room. So, I think that money that this team might have in expiring contracts, to me, you've got to worry about retaining Kevin Durant and Jeff Green, and those are the two big off-season deals. I think unless there's a situation like maybe acquiring another Maynor type or another Cephalosha type where you could sort of get something fairly cheaply, but I don't think they're going to make a big acquisition. Maybe I'm wrong. I was surprised by the Maynor trade, but I don't think they're going to spend a bunch of that money, guys.
Here's what's interesting. In a year's time, the Thunder has gone from a whole bunch of needs to not all that much needs. I mean, they could use some more interior defense. You could always use another guy that can shoot. But the truth of the matter is, what this team needs is the one thing it's just going to have to wait on, which is experience. Kevin Durant's going to be a lot better player 2 years from now than he is now, and he's a heck of a player now. Russell Westbrook is going to be way better in 2 years than he is now. Jeff Green, James Harden, all these guys, that's what they need most, is just these guys to grow up. They're almost to the point where they're just going to have to sit and wait on it. Maybe you make a trade, but I don't think you make a blockbuster. You don't bring in a big money, big name guy. They've got the pieces they need. They just need to grow some whiskers.
Percent chance that Chris Bosh will be traded to Oklahoma City this season. Jenny?
I think it's pretty slim, maybe 10%.
Yeah, I'd go around there, 5%.
I think it's 0%. I don't think there's any way. Even if it was a wonderful offer, I don't think Sam Presti wants it because I don't think he wants to upset the chemistry or upset the payroll.
Thanks, guys. That's all for this edition of the Press Row. But you can stay with the best coverage team anywhere, every day at News OK, and every morning in the Oklahoma.